I have never been more confident saying that Moritz Seider is coming home with some hardware this season, as the Red Wings have the NHL's next superstar on the blue line. Captain Dylan Larkin speaks out on what's next for this Red Wings team heading into a playoff run. But not only that, Todd McLellan speaking out. We have multiple updates on the team as well as we head into the Olympic break. We're going to break it all down in this episode of Red Wings Digest. But before we get into all of that, a quick reminder to hit that subscribe button. The support on the channel has been unbelievable so far. We set goals of 250 subscribers, 500 subscribers, and you guys have smashed it so far. So we're setting a new goal of 1,000 subscribers. Thank you so much for the support so far, everybody. We're almost there, and 95 or 94% of you, almost 95% of you, have not yet subscribed to the channel. So if you want to stay up to date with everything that's happening with the Red Wings, go down below, hit that free subscribe button. But Mark, let's jump right into it. Lots to get to today. And a hot topic of conversation after that game against the Colorado Avalanche was Moritz Seider. And can he win the Norris this season? And we're going to pump his tires more so than anybody has in this video, that is for sure, because what a season he has had. He's in the top percentile of almost every single category. He's playing top minutes against top competition. He's fantastic on both sides of the ice this year, and you can see this. Moritz Seider is being talked about for the Norris Trophy this year. Mark, what do you make of Seider's play so far this year, and does he have a chance of winning the Norris Trophy?
I mean, when you're looking at that, you can see the green across the entire thing. 57 games played, 37 points, 30 assists, 7 goals. Yes, the goals could be higher, but who cares when you're winning games with one of, if not the best defenseman in the NHL right now when it comes to both levels of play. Yes, you have guys out there like Quinn Hughes and others that are going to go out and put up points, but the big thing with Mo is just how damn good he has been on the ice on both sides here. So you can see the effective offense, the effective defense. This is a guy that is continuously into play at a Norris level. Looking at this, I feel like I'm at a bar. I need more Snyder in my life. This is a guy who leads all defensemen in the NHL in war against replacement. The Red Wings unlocked a Norris caliber defenseman this season. You can go through. This is a guy that is legitimately making a chance and a case to become one of the league's best defensemen and be honored with that, like you said, with some good hardware this season.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think if you're looking at Moritz Seider, and there was a tease there for Dylan Larkin, we'll get to some comments about that in a second. So stay tuned for that. And stay tuned to the end. We have some more stuff for you guys there, some interesting key details moving forward for the team. But, you know, when you're looking at him so far this season, of course, you know, there's a budding star a couple of years ago. You're like, okay, this is a great right shot defenseman, a big body as well. He has 37 points in 57 games this year. So offensively, he's getting it done. His plus minus is very good. He throws hits. He blocks shots. He's playing against the toughest competition in the NHL on a team that is very good. There's something to be said about that. You can't just look at goals and assists sometimes. You have to look at the fact that this guy's relied upon to shut down the other team's best players around the league. And this is a top team in the Detroit Red Wings in the entire league. So it's very impressive to me. You can see that earlier this season, he was on a line with Ben Sherratt, or a pairing, I should say, with Ben Sherratt. Since they've disbanded that, I mean, he's gone to another level. He looks absolutely fantastic. I see you guys talking about it in the comments as well. The amount of, you know, just what he's brought to the table since he's been taken away from Ben Sherratt. And that's no discredit to Ben Sherratt. He plays a role in this team. He was just signed to a contract extension. We have a video on that as well if you want to go check that out and what that means for the team moving forward. But, you know, he's just been a fantastic player for this team. And when you look around the league, Mark, I mean, you're looking at the Colorado Avalanche, Cale Makar. He's going to be in the conversation for Norris Trophy, right? I think Seider should absolutely be in the conversation this year, at least in the conversation. I'm not saying he's going to win it because, listen, the Avalanche they've had a great season to this point. And, you know, we don't like the Avalanche here on this channel, but you have to respect Cale Makar for what he's done. He's going to be in the conversation. I think Seider should be in the conversation because of what he's done, not just himself, it's been the team, but he himself in his position to take this Red Wings team to another level this season. He is playing against the best players in the NHL, and he's been relied upon to shut them down. He's done it, and he's putting up points.
Because I think that's the big thing. You're seeing a lot of these guys, they're getting a lot of points on the power play. And listen, I said Snyder, I meant Seider. Of course, this is a guy that goes out and you're going to match him up against the biggest talent in the NHL, the Connor McDavids of the league. Anyone like this, we know Mo is going to be on the ice to be their top competition, to shut them down every night. And I want you guys to let us know in the comments right now. But why for yes and for no? Do you think he wins the Norris this season? I think it's a very strong chance when looking at his play and just how good he is. The wins against replacement are through the roof. The best defenseman in the NHL. You see the block shots, the hits, the defensive numbers, the points. Darius, I don't think there is a more complete defenseman in the NHL at this moment other than Mo.
No, I don't know if there is right now, at least this season. And I mean, Cale Makar, again, that's the only guy I'm comparing him to this season that, I look at and I'm like, is having that much of an impact for his team, right? And another thing that was brought up there in terms of the stats, if you can bring up his stats again, he's averaging 25 minutes of ice time a night. You can see it here in the bottom right of your screen. 25 on average minutes a night. He's playing a lot of minutes for this team night in, night out. Like, to average 25 is insane, right? Averaging like 20, okay, you're playing a lot. You're playing against the best competition. And most teams, their defensemen, their best defensemen, because they're playing in different situations, are probably playing like 22 minutes or something like that. He is averaging 25 minutes. He's been everything for this team on the back end. It's not just him. It's not just him. We're going to have other videos on some other guys as well. And we know there's one guy in particular, and I'll tease this and set this up for another video as well. There's a guy who's out due to injury right now. There's a big part of this team as well, but we'll talk about that in another video. But to me, Seider, he's got to be in the conversation at this point. I don't know why more people are not making more noise about it. I'm glad that it's picking up now because he's been that impactful for this team this season.
And I think that's the big thing. I mean, looking at the entire NHL, we know how good they are in the standings. You can see that they're fighting to get that top spot. They want to win a President's Trophy. They want to make that push to win a Stanley Cup. We know it's been a hot minute since Detroit had some big games, but the big thing is Mo is a huge part. We know Dylan Larkin, DeBrincat. There's so many names, but I think it all stems with how good John Gibson has been, which has been a huge part of how good this defense is. And then you add the forwards, of course. We want more goal scoring. We want more production throughout the entire team. But I think at the end of the day, it just shows what they're building here. They have a young stud, and he's still young. That's the crazy thing here is you're seeing a lot of these guys that are looking at Norris as they could be in their 30s or late 20s. Mo is still very young in his mid 20s. I think it just shows how bright the future of this team is truly built. Of course, we're going to touch on all the ads, but I think at the end of the day, you have your foundation on the defensive end. Just solidify it. You already have the young talent too. Get one more big fish behind him, so maybe you can take a few minutes off him, but I still think he can eat those 25 minutes a night easily.
Yeah, he can, but in the playoffs, like you said, it's going to be a harder workload, right? The harder miles on the body as well because of the physicality is going to go up, and everyone's going to have to play with a little bit more of a mean streak and a little bit more snarl, right? So I think adding one more player behind him, like a Justin Falk, or we've talked about Braden Schneider, could take some minutes away from him, which would be a good thing. Would be a good thing because he's going to be freed up a little bit to play in maybe not different situations, but anyway. Besides all that, let's get to some other stuff, and let us know in the comments how you feel about Moritz Seider. Should he win the Norris Trophy, or at least be in the conversation? At least be in the conversation. Comment yes or no down below. But Dylan Larkin, I wanted to get to this, the captain, before we wrap up here. He said he was disappointed, and this is from Tony. He was disappointed last season with how the trade deadline went, that they didn't go out and make any moves. Now, obviously, Detroit missed the playoffs last year. The Red Wings missed the playoffs again. So it kind of worked out that, at least they weren't buyers and still missed the playoffs, if you want to look at it objectively that way. But the captain was upset about that. So Mark, what do you make of that? Because this year, I think the pressure is on Steve Yzerman to go out and make at least a deal. I don't know if he's going to go out and make a crazy blockbuster, but I think he's got to make a couple deals to bolster some positions here, because as it stands right now, if you're looking at the standings too, and you're looking at, the salary cap position, they have a ton of salary cap as well. If the playoffs started today, it could very easily end up this way. You're playing a Buffalo Sabres team that also hasn't been in the playoffs in years, in a generation, basically. So that's going to be a bloodbath. That's going to be a crazy playoff series. So I feel like there is a bit of pressure from the captain, from some of the fans as well, to go out and make some type of move.
And I think that's the big thing. Listen, you have draft capital there. I don't think at this point you want to move on from the young guys on this team. Yes, if you get a huge offer, but why move Kasper when you know that he's playing well? And the big thing with Larkin, he did talk about how good this team has become. Todd has been a huge part of this. And he also gave credit to Steve for going out to get John Gibson. And my big thing and why I wanted to bring this up is I'm worried that Stevie Y looks at this and says, hey, I made my addition early on. We got our goaltender. Maybe we don't need to add, but Darius, looking at the team, a right-handed defenseman and another scoring winger, hopefully a centerman that can play in the middle six, would bolster this team so much. You get into the playoffs, it's a game of inches. A lucky bounce goes your way and you're in the Stanley Cup Finals. Not saying they need a lucky bounce, but this is a team that is poised to make a run. They want to get in, and at the very worst, which, listen, we want a deep run, but at the very worst, you're getting a taste of the NHL playoff action that a lot of these guys haven't. You get into the playoffs, they'll get to the point of wanting to make that push year after year, and I think this is the start of seeing this team going from missing the playoffs multiple seasons to being a playoff contender every single year for quite some time. And call me biased on that too.
And I could agree with that, right? I think that they're on the precipice of something that's very good, very consistent at this point in terms of making the playoffs. And you have to make the playoffs to get playoff experience. And once you're there, you get that taste, and you want to go back and you know what you're doing the next time, right? So I think it's a crucial season for that. But you can also catch a lot of teams with their pants down this year because the East is wide open, right? Like you're looking at Tampa probably, but the East is wide open at this point in time, and especially this division. I mean, it's not going to stay. I mean, it could end up staying exactly like this, but I don't think it's going to end up staying exactly like this. So it's going to get very interesting before the end of the season, but we want to hear what you have to say in the comments about Seider down below. Does he, make his way into the Norris conversation? Does he win the Norris? I think we should be talking about it. I think there should be noise about it. Yes or no in the comments. Let us know. Let us know about Dylan Larkin's comments as well. And of course, should the Red Wings make a trade? I think it's a center. And you also have to think about, besides what we talked about, injuries as well, the possibility for injuries, right? So you want some depth too. So probably a center, probably a right shot defenseman. We'll see what Steve Yzerman ends up doing, because we're going to be talking about it for a while at this point, and there is a trade freeze right now. But let us know how you feel in the comments below. If you haven't yet, hit that subscribe button so you can stay up to date with everything Red Wings.